Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is, hang on, February 25th, and it is only 10 months until Christmas. But thank you for joining us today, everybody. It's been a rather flat day in the big boards with the market. There are a few interesting tidbits that we do want to discuss today. And a few standouts from a performance point of view. But first, let's have Ryan take us to the legal.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Alex. This is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain is strictly for informational and educational purposes only. Absolutely none of this is investment advice, and none of it should be construed as such. Do not listen to us. Trade the Chain is brought to you by Trade the Chain, a 24/7 global community of traders, all using AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts to help them beat the market, regardless of their age, location, or trading knowledge or ability. They're able to trade like crypto insiders on TradeTheChain.com. Go there for a 14-day trial. Ooh, mixed board today.
Long-term bullish, still long-term bullish on everything.
Long-term bullish, but hourly and daily sentiment's a bit of a fruit salad.
Fruit salad. For those of you that are hungry.
One thing that you mentioned, Ryan, that I like with the community members of all ages all around the world, you don't have to be old to be right. Just remember that if you're getting into the market and you're early on.
But you can be, right? We have members that are well into their 60s and they're active.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah, just like Alex. Look at Alex.
Whoa.
MarketRebellion.com/crypto. This is my community, or Monty and myself and Market Rebellion's community. And with us, you get exclusive access to trade ideas, our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. If you're interested about trading crypto, this is the service that gives you everything you need all in one place. And you can start your first month trial for just $1 at marketrebellion.com/crypto. We have a mobile app as well for Apple users. And so you can find everything that you need to know here at marketrebellion.com/crypto. But moving over to the big boards here with Bitcoin, let's take a look at the 4-hour here. And yesterday, what we talked about was this TD by 9 on the 4-hour chart. Then we had a nice green engulfing candle that took us all the way back up to our resistance levels at the moving averages from the Keltner or the Williams alligators, excuse me. And now that we're kind of running into this consolidation, we are in a very neutral territory with those moving averages. We've seen them turn over and now form resistance as price kind of goes through this bearish to neutral consolidation. Now, I had an individual in our community ask me, do you think we're going to go back down to 45, 42K potentially? And my answer to that is, yeah, I think we will go down and at least test possibly this 46 or 45K level, similar to we did previously. And that's just because when we first test upward on this resistance, sometimes it takes a couple different tries before we actually do break on through to the other side.
That was good, CJ. I like that, man.
But yeah, one point I want to make here as well before passing it off is, we just had the Williams alligators. Now here I'm going to add the Keltner channel. You can see it's coming up on that same level of resistance. And the same thing is true with the Bollinger Bands. The Keltner channels, the Williams alligator, and the Bollinger Bands are ultimately 3 different indicators that will lead you to a very similar conclusion. And as you can see, how Monty successfully pointed out on yesterday's show, we bottomed and now we're seeing a nice rounding pattern in this Bollinger Band on the 4-hour. So very bearish to neutral price action. I think we're going to have to consolidate here before we finally do break above that Bollinger Band and resistance level at approximately 50K. But once we do, I expect bullish momentum to continue and to put in a new high above 57K here. So those are some critical levels we'll be watching. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that currently.
Thank you, CJ. Yeah, I am in agreement. I just want to quickly elaborate on some of the things you touched on here. And one of those is obviously how this Bollinger Band has flipped to resistance. And it's really been accurate in kind of predicting where these 4-hour candles will eventually reverse. You can see that we wicked above it on the last 4-hour candle, but closed just below it. And that kind of led to this new red 1 candle. So I just want to make a quick prediction about kind of where price can go from here. And I think the most likely scenario, because we've been rejected at this level and because we got a minting of this red 1 candle, I'm anticipating a steady decline over the next maybe 9 4-hour candles. So the next day period, back down to this 45K level. I just don't see significant buying pressure coming in from the bulls. There's no legitimate support below the current level of 49K until we get down to this level of 46K. So to me, it just doesn't seem like the momentum is there to break through this Bollinger Band and for the bulls to take control. Not only that, but just quickly touching on the sentiment, still neutral on the hourly, neutral on the daily. Like I said yesterday, I'm trying to wait until this daily sentiment flips to bullish to enter a long trade. And I think we're still a few days away from that happening. I could see that happening once we get down back to this setup support here from the TD9. I think a lot of buyers will be content to buy Bitcoin at 45K. I'm sure a lot of them already have limit buy orders placed. So watch out for that. Watch for a flip in sentiment and watch for a flip in momentum here. If we get another red 9 candle, that may be an indication that a reversal is coming and could provide sufficient momentum to break through these resistance levels and maybe retest this resistance level of 57.59K. Well, that's all I got for Bitcoin. So I'll pass it back to you.
You know what I'm surprised about? Thanks for that, guys. I'm surprised that Coinbase's S1, going live today for their IPO, didn't provide more of a jolt to the markets. In the past, news reports of bullish developments for the space would send Bitcoin soaring. You have, looking at Coinbase's financials, last year for 2020, they generated a net income of 322 million. And that's a year after a loss of 30 million. But clearly there's more interest in Bitcoin and there's more interest in crypto, and that's good for the ecosystem overall. Why didn't that have the same impact it would have had, say, a year ago? I mean, is it
news fatigue?
Traders?
I think it's news fatigue. I really do, because I mean, even with that, there's other news coming out as well. There's news that MicroStrategies, after buying $1 billion of its Bitcoin the other day, wants to buy more. Market didn't touch it. Coinbase files for their IPO, doesn't do anything. Look, we got one here from investment fund FD7 Ventures that wants to dump $750 million and sell $750 million of Bitcoin to move into Polkadot and Cardano. Didn't do anything. I think it's news fatigue.
Do you really think that they're selling after they make that announcement? They've already sold. You don't announce that you're going to sell $750 million worth of Bitcoin. Who signals that to the market?
Well, first of all, it is a unique posting that I've ever seen. It does show $750 million spread out across the next 30 days so that they can move into Cardano and Polkadots. I don't understand the logic either, Ryan. You're in this side of the business. This doesn't benefit you in either way. One, you're driving Bitcoin down with the announcement, and two, you're driving Cardano and Polkadot prices up while you're trying to buy it.
I've never seen anyone front run their own trade. That's spectacular. I mean, is the news fatigue just a case of traders chasing ever larger white rabbits, just needing something even crazier, like we've talked about in the past? I mean, and MicroStrategy, they're issuing more debt to buy all that Bitcoin, right?
Listen, go ahead, CJ.
I was going to say, maybe it's just my own bias because I'm in the industry and do this job with you guys every day. But if we have multi-million-dollar corporations, billion-dollar corporations buying absurd amounts of Bitcoin, I mean, it makes sense that we would need to have an IPO or not need, but it makes sense that there would be an IPO in that world where crypto is already becoming very, very popular. So I think it is this news fatigue.
MicroStrategy's debt to equity ratio is approaching 1.0 if they issue more debt. They're already at what? It has to be above that now. At what point does their debt to equity ratio hit a number, even though they're buying Bitcoin with it, where you think investors are, all right, this is enough, you've jumped the shark? Because the stock went down earlier this week when they announced they were buying more.
Really? Interesting. How about this? Here's a stock that that's going up and it hasn't bought any Bitcoin. Anybody want to talk about something fun and interesting in the market here? Come on, CJ. I know you got some words for this.
Yeah, they're at 0.87 MicroStrategy's debt to equity ratio.
It's crazy. 0.87.
The GME thing is incredible that it's still going on and people are still participating in that. And I think it shows that overall, what we can take from it is that there's still a large amount of speculators in this market. But also, what I think that a lot of the mainstream media ignores is that there are a lot of hedge funds that are now on the side of Wall Street bets, masking themselves as Wall Street bets. So this is a two-sided street.
But that's because that's where the smart money goes. The smart money goes where there's income or profit potential, right? And if I'm not very smart, but sometimes my money is, and I follow where opportunity goes. You're a trend following hedge fund. You see something going up like this, your algos automatically just kick into it anyway.
Well, so, I want to, on that note, I also want to go into a couple of things that have been exciting over the recent weeks, one over the last couple of days, as I cruise into the Rebellion Ops Center and head on over to the charts of CKB. CKB newly listed on Voyager, and it is up 80.99% in since it's listed the last 24 hours. Now, yeah, Ryan, you and I deal with this over at Trade the Chain a lot with new listings and stuff. If I pop over to their last listing, which was Luna, over there on Voyager, you could see quite the jump on the listing. But this is all part of that Coinbase effect, and so it's really it's exciting times over there.
Sure, it's a lot more exciting than a lot of the other things going on in the market. The big assets are flat, and then you have these guys just firing up on an exchange listing. I missed the vote on CKB.
I did too.
Yeah.
We had an individual in our community who just bought CKB just because it was newly listed on Voyager on a whim. And sure enough, 50, 60, I think almost 70% gain at one time today. So that particular individual did very well. But I'm definitely, next time we get an asset on Voyager and it has a relatively low market cap, below 500 million, I might just set like a mental alarm or just an alert, like with a 10 to 15% price increase. If it goes up that much, just automatically enter it and see if it goes up another 30 to 40 to 50% just in that one day.
People last night were talking in the community. They were riding it up 50, 60% and then selling it. They were taking their profits last night because they're smarter than me. They got in, they got their profits, and popped out, right? And I'm playing FIFA.
Well,
missing a vote.
Well, it's one of those.
Play FIFA.
You can make money while playing FIFA.
No, I can't. People can, but I can't. I'm not good enough to make money playing FIFA.
I'm actually, listen, it's much like whether it's technical analysis, sentiment analysis, listings are a type of trading. It's a type of alert in its own right. Now, I'll tell you right now, Ryan's not going to like me too much when I do this, but Ryan, I am just going to share one portion. It's going to be quick, so nobody gets a clue. But this is actually the SigDev alerts in our community, and it announces all the listings that are new. So you could see here like oh, hey, I interviewed the ideology guy. But these are all the listings that come out. And what makes it interesting is what Ryan was saying is that people literally just trade the minute these things come out and have no idea what they're about.
Yeah, you're just taking you add them to a universe of more engaged traders, be they on Coinbase or Binance or elsewhere, and having access to those coins, however you can get access to it, it just exposes you to an opportunity to make more money. And some of the research that we've shown previously on here and on our member AMAs shows you can ride these exchange listings up 20, 30, apparently 80% in a 24-hour period. Stormax, it getting listed goes up 132%. And I was able to ride that wave up. So at least I caught one of them.
I thought we were going to go a whole episode without saying StormX, but
never.
Ryan's right, though. There are so many stories. If you've been in the space since 2018, 2017, even earlier, we just talked about like a few days ago, Ravencoin, when it was listed on Binance, went from like a penny to 6 pennies because you couldn't short it. There was no vehicle to sell. So people just kept pressing the buy button. And obviously that was a little bit more of an extreme example, but that listing catalyst is still in the space.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I actually just wanted to quickly show the trade the chain sentiment, which kind of makes me think that there is still room to the upside for CKB. I mean, look at the tweet volume, the trading volume. And like you guys said, it's still such a kind of novelty that there's no way to short it. And it's kind of in this price discovery mode. So I think as long as this momentum keeps up, still very bullish on the daily sentiment. I wouldn't be surprised if this keeps running.
I mean, it's up. It was up over 80% at one point, and now it's retraced a little. I don't know. I'm not an expert trader. I don't know if I'd hop in there.
Oh, I mean, you check what Monty just did, and check this out. So you have Nervos up 146% in the 30-day change, 77% of it coming in the last 24 hours. Look, okay, all right, let's see Voyager, 598%. But moving on, you look at their previous listing of Luna, 440% over the last 30 days. These things are poppers. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we just sit here all day and talk and just trade listings.
Or we could talk
like
about
earnings.
Finally getting sued by someone.
Who's getting sued?
Craig Wright.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Craig Wright. That's I don't have fatigue on that.
We really have to.
No, we don't.
No, it's funny. This is actually a really funny story. So a bunch of wallets that all the Bitcoins, 110,000 Bitcoins from Mt. Gox that were stolen from that exchange, they were put into specific wallets that Craig Wright is now demanding the Bitcoins be taken out of and give to him because they're his Bitcoins. He's admitted to hacking Mt. Gox in legal documents. And now Mt. Gox hacking victims, they're serving him legal notices. It's amusing. I don't know. I'm going to let myself to sleep about this one tonight.
Yeah,
I hope he has to pay all that back. I hope he has to dig up 110,000 Bitcoin and pay that back.
Well, I mean, with the Satoshi wallet, he definitely.
Yeah, he should have that much.
Unbelievable. All right, let's talk about something people want to hear. And we'll go over here to VGX on the Rebellion charts here, everybody. Now, we brought it up yesterday. You could see how we had a nice recovery coming up. We're now, I mean, it looks beautiful. It's just a resilient horse that keeps winning the race. I like it. So, I mean, what do you guys think with VGX? I mean, a lot of action, a lot of resilience to it.
It's kind of tiring out up at this like 715, 720 level. And we've kind of got a little bit of a double top after that TD cell 9, as you can see towards the top right of the chart there. And now we're coming down, catching some support off of that Bollinger Band on your chart there, Alex. But the thing that I think is going to be interesting is that Voyager Digital is going to have a call. Steve's going to have a call on Monday about the quarterly reports, or essentially, I guess it's an earnings call. essentially. He's going to report on how Voyager, their business, did all throughout the last quarter. And I think the market has already priced it in, at least in the stock, that it's probably going to be a very good report. We all know how much investors are interested in their business and how well they've been doing when it comes to onboarding people. But it'll be interesting once the call comes out on Monday nonetheless. We had some questions in our community about that, namely, is it going to affect the coin or is it going to affect the stock? I think it's going to affect the stock much more because that's the one that's traded in North America. And of course, we know VGX is traded all throughout the world, where even more than half of the volume is coming from Binance, Asia, Australia, all throughout the world, whereas about 40% is coming from North America. So if we assume that other 60% of traders are more just trading off of technicals and price speculation, I don't think that the market will be as affected. But then again, I could be wrong. We'll see.
Yeah, CJ, I'm definitely inclined to agree with you. But one thing I will point out, like you said, the Asian market, the Voyager stock and the Voyager token really have completely different audiences for the most part. So like you said, the Asian market doesn't really care for the earnings report or even what Voyager Digital is doing as a company. They're more so looking at these technicals. And from a technical perspective, it does look very toppish here. We got this doji green 9. But one thing that is encouraging and one thing that I'm going to look out for is the support from this Bollinger Band. I think if it can maintain support until Monday, if we can hover above this level and maybe consolidate around 7.13, I think it would be setting itself up very nicely for a pop following the earnings report. But based on what I'm seeing here, I think it's more than likely that we're going to break through this Bollinger Band and head back down into the $6 range. And I think if that does happen, it'd be a lot less likely that the earnings report is a true catalyst. I think more so this looks like it's trading on the technicals right now. And I think CJ's right in the sense that a lot of the anticipation of this earnings report was probably priced in around here when we also saw a run up with the Voyager stock. So definitely something to keep note of. And I think this weekend is going to be really important for Voyager leading into the earnings report on Monday.
Okay.
And my voice is back. One of the things I just want to show in conjunction with that, Monty, is here is the Voyager stock, and you could see from where all of a sudden there was the beginning of a lot of success with VGX token. You see the stock start to react to it. It looked down here at this level, you got around the a little over $4 mark to where it is now. It's $16. This stock has performed with the announcements that it's done as far as funded accounts, new user signups. I think you're right. The investor call is going to be extremely important because it's only going to, it's going to be important because it's going to reveal the numbers that we're all curious about from when Voyager went down last month. And that's a big thing. I think those numbers are going to be really satisfying to everybody.
Speaking of Canadian listed Bitcoin or crypto companies, have you seen the AUM on the ETF? It's nearly 600 million in just a few days. That's incredible.
Not so bad. When are we getting one? When are we getting one down here?
Don't want to place a timeline on the regulators.
We do. It's called
MicroStrategies.
Jeez. Yeah, when they make their next quarterly report, I can't imagine that their debt to equity ratio is number 1 at this point, because it was 0.87 at the end of last year on the last disclosure.
Yeah, all right.
Do you still buy that stock at that point?
No. I'll tell you what. People are gonna do hate comments maybe, but there's gonna get to a certain point, especially since what we're thinking about with the bull run and everything going on from a time frame of that and where we sit and inning wise, where some puts are going to be maybe coming on the table for MicroStrategy. Some people might make out big if the call goes right with the bull market ending at the end of this year and beginning of next year. maybe start shorting some MicroStrategy.
Yeah, can you imagine what MicroStrategy is going to do if we get a 70% correction in Bitcoin from the top? Like, could it go negative? Because
like oil did last year.
Oh my God.
CJ, where are the Bitcoin stocks at, or crypto stocks at today?
I think they're about flat here. Give me a sec, I'll pull it up.
Yesterday, folks, they were down. If you watch yesterday, CJ pointed out how they were down 20% plus, pretty much across the board. Let's see if they've recovered a little bit as Bitcoin has.
So Voyager is the only one that is actually up. Yeah, all the others are about down anywhere from 1% to 5%. So not a horrible day, but definitely feeling some sell pressure. And looks like Riot is down the furthest. Yeah, this was a tough peak that Riot had. We'll see if we form some support, some consolidation here before we keep going up. But yeah, man, it was a very elevated staircase for a lot of these companies, and they're just coming off of it, and they're shaking out a lot of longs that got into the market up here, at around earlier in February, and yeah, wow.
And it's crazy to think, like, throughout 2020 and the start of 2021, these assets moved percentage-wise in such tandem with Bitcoin. But if you think about where Bitcoin topped at around 58K, and it's now trading at 50K, whereas you have MicroStrategy topping around $83, and now it's at $48. I mean, the beta with these crypto-related equities, it's just so much higher. You're getting exposure to Bitcoin, but it's even more volatile. Which, I mean, I don't know why you need a more volatile Bitcoin. It's already plenty volatile in itself. But
don't. I wouldn't cut it too short. Yeah, I'm genuinely curious. Okay, so Bitcoin is drastically outperformed Square. That's not too surprising. MicroStrategy has drastically outperformed Bitcoin. Let's see what that overall top was at. Around 1,000%, around 950% increase on that. Mara. Oh man, that's not even funny. That's not even funny. 4,000%.
That makes Bitcoin look flat, CJ.
Yeah, it makes it look worse than the S&P. It's crazy. And I'm sure Riot will be pretty similar. Yeah, there you go. 2,000%, even after coming down. Let's see.
Is
a third of value.
Wow.
And then Voyager. Don't sleep on Voyager Digital. A lot of these are really showing you that, a lot of the money or the opportunity in the market is not exactly on Bitcoin. It's the companies and the ecosystems that are growing as a result of Bitcoin.
Those charts are astronomical. I mean, if that doesn't show people that it's Lambo season, I don't know what does. That was like my YouTube show phrase for the episode. Lambo season.
I just don't know how you can be a Bitcoin maximalist and look at all those charts and not invest in anything else. It's just, but I'll bite my tongue. I'm not going to say anything.
Too many arbitrage opportunities other than Bitcoin right now in the market, as well as, listen, I'm getting curious. I'm going to ask my broker for some locates and some borrows for some of those companies like MicroStrategy and Riot and whatnot. We'll see if there's not enough money to be made heading downwards as there was upwards. Mr. Short loves that. That's his game. So all right, folks, you listen, thanks for hanging in with us today. It was a lazy day. We have a bunch of important work that we're gonna do, so we just want to kind of round robin this episode and be casual about it. CJ, Ryan, myself are heading off to actually record an interview with the CEO and founder of Storm X so that we can get that over to you guys as well. Next week, we have our good friend Cyrus Faisal, co-founder, CEO of Swissborg, ticker CHSB. We're going to talk to him as well. So we got a bunch of really good stuff lined up. Don't leave us because we were just hanging out today. I promise you more fun. So happy trading. Hang on to your handlebars. We will see you tomorrow, and trust us, we're working overtime for you guys. We're going to bring a lot of content to you guys that is with some awesome people over the course of next week. Just laying it out there. Be good.
Bye, everyone.